And now let's see Alessia. Obviously, as mentioned, it will be a big surprise. But I think mostly for Marco. And first and foremost, let's see if she's gonna have a good hand. And a great way to start things off is obviously the field spell, the magnificent map. She's playing a lot of one-offs in the deck, and one of them, as we can see, is the 1DD Crow. Probably not quite for this matchup, we could say, but
I mean, still, as mentioned, Floowandereeze is a very good deck still, but I think now is Marco, which is may not super familiar with the deck.
yeah.
And may not be happy, especially because we have seen how difficult it is to play against Floowandereeze in general. And
Yeah, he hasn't been playing that much Yu-Gi-Oh! Probably in the latest years. He's one of those players who has come back after a while. And for any of you who are familiar with the deck, maybe not so much for him. Here we see the normal summon of this tree without effect, because there are no cards in the graveyard. But thanks to the additional normal summon, she can still do a lot. And this is exactly what's gonna go for. So, gonna normal summon, and as you can see, Marco is not familiar at all with this deck. And yeah, as expected, we could see an Empen. She already has the Avian, the Apex Avian, which makes it so that, yeah, for sure, I think we are gonna see the setup, which is what you usually go for, the Dreaming Town, so that you have ways to play during your opponent turn. And as you can see, Marco probably is not super familiar with it yet, but he's trying to, figure out how his opponent, plays. And yeah, we do see the Dreaming Town to be expected. Looking at Marco's deck, as mentioned, this is a bit of an issue, because literally every single one of his monsters are aimed at stopping special summons. The only decent engine which would work against Floowandereeze is the Dogmatica one, with, Ecclesia and Punishment, but that's about it. So solid stuff from Alessia. And now let's take a look at this end from Marco.
now I think Alessia will be
shocked. We might not even see a monster, because he's playing a very low count. So first and foremost, let's see if he has access to any of spell. Just making sure he knows what's going on, but this is also not that relevant for him. So, we're gonna start things off. I do see the Jaugen. Unfortunately, that Jaugen is not gonna do much here. Not able to destroy or stop anything, because only normal summons are there for Alessia. And we start things off with Prosperity. Yeah, it seems very tough.
Yeah, no, but honestly, I think maybe the Dogmaticas. No, but
no, because the only card which could be decent in general is the Moon equipment, so the Moon Mirror Shield, which pretty much makes it so that your monsters are always 100 attack points higher than your opponents.
Or with the crackdowns, you just
but
try.
it's usually not enough, because the Dreaming Town puts the monster's face down, so it gets rid of the Moon. Yeah, it seems like an upfield battle in this just very unfortunate matchup for Marco. And now, you can see Alessia already smiling. She's like, okay, but this is actually still could be a lot of different decks, because only the Dogmatica package is revealed.
you go for. It's
I mean, Nadir Servant is really good. It's a really solid card. Usually can get you a +1, and this is probably the way that you can play the game out. Just trying to grind, use your extra deck with, you know, NTs, trying to destroy some cards. But we know that Floowandereeze is really good at playing the grind game as well. So it's tough. But yeah, as you can see, follow it up. Yeah, just gonna put them at the bottom. But I think what he meant is that he's just gonna use the Nadir Servant afterwards, so maybe it shouldn't matter. Let's take a look. The rest of his hand...
I think he has a Dine as well.
he should have a Solemn, and yeah, probably Solemn Dine and Jaugen. So obviously cards they could be used, and one of the tech cards, and here is one of the cards which we have not seen at all, and that is the Decisive Battle of Golgonda. Essentially what it does, it protects your monsters and your cards in general, because once per turn, instead of destroying them by battle or effect, you can send a fusion, meaning Albats, from the extra deck. So it gives you some protection, and it also gives you some advantage, because when you send Titanic Land, then you can get access to the Dogmatic Engine. So I think it's a really good card in the deck. I'm not sure about the matchup again, but yeah. The good news, at least for Marco, is that the scariest card I think in the matchup is not there yet, which is the Unexplored Winds. That card is just straight up insane against a deck like Marco. But as you can see here, Nadir Servant gonna take the +1, almost +2. It can destroy what could be maybe the Ampen. I mean, it's a close one.
Yeah, I mean, if he feels like he can get rid of the Ampen, but I mean, the set card, I will not be maybe so scared.
No, you can get rid of if you want of the field spell, but the Ampen, I think it's safe enough. It probably doesn't really matter that much, but yeah, he does get rid of the Ampen. The only bad part about getting rid of the Ampen is that, you know, there are plays such as this 3, banishing it, then you get it back to 2-can. It's the usual stuff. But now you can summon if you want to search for the punishment. But obviously that's gonna trigger the field spell. And yeah, that's exactly what's gonna go down. Ecclesia is gonna be activated, and then Alessia can use her field spell to start the chain of normal summons, the rides at the apex. It's so much advantage for her. She's considering it.
Yeah.
And yeah, does activate the field spell. Could get exactly for the Eglin. And yeah, as Marco will unfortunately find out, this deck can play very consistently on both players' turn and get a lot of advantage in grinding going on.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is one of the worst matchups.
No, for sure. I can see Marco's deck being very annoying for Snake Eye. Like, obviously, losing the die roll is always a bit of an issue for these kind of decks, but he has a lot of tools. Yeah.
Yeah, he has the Secret Village with the token, so it's like with a lot of traps as well, so it's maybe very annoying. Like, I think Floowandereeze is just... I mean, in the main deck in general, it's very difficult. Yes. The side deck, he has some options.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm still a little skeptic, but yeah, we'll see. It definitely gets more on the awfulness side. But as expected now, you can get to a flow of summons. I think Marco is very familiar with the original Raiza, not quite with the Mega version, but you will find out that it's much stronger than the older relative. And okay, she actually goes right away for the summon. Interesting. I thought she was gonna go at least for you know, Robina and more first, but she still has the face down Dreaming Town whenever she wants to extend more. And yeah, this is another quite annoying card, obviously, that's gonna be able to negate anything from Marco. And unfortunately, he also had a couple of monsters which are completely useless now.
A difficult spot. For
Yeah,
Marco.
I think this secret village will come down. Doesn't really do anything at the moment, unfortunately. Yeah. And then 2 face downs. The best one by far being the punishment, which can be negated. So now plays back to Alessia. She can go for the Dreaming Town. I would be shocked if she didn't. Because like you can do so much with it. And she has this 3 into Ampen. But Marco,
I think he wants to attack and
yeah, he's gonna try and crush, and then he's gonna use the continuous spell to send just a card to get some kind of advantage. But he can only send a card, I think, that mentions Albas, so his options are quite limited. And yeah, he just gets to a Titanic Land, which essentially is gonna allow him to search in the end phase.
Yeah, I mean, he tried to navigate through this, but doesn't seem so promising.
Ooh, but
him.
she doesn't go for
okay.
the Dream Town. Wow. I think that's a big risk. Yeah. Because you could do so much with the Ryza, get rid of 2 cards, and yeah, even loop the advantage. She's playing it super safe. And let's see if she can get punished for it. Obviously looks quite grim still. Well, yeah, play seems like we'll be back to Alessia soon.
Yeah. And play is back to Alessia. Yeah, she's gonna go for the fill spell. Doesn't seem as if Marco wants to go for the punishment.
Yeah, I guess the issue is that the secret village only stops your opponent from activating spells, not from activating the effects of already face-up spells. So at the moment, it's not doing much at all. And yeah, we do get access to the toucan, which, as was saying previously, it gets you this nice synergy of, you know, 3 banishing the Ingrave Ampen and then just adding it back. And it's a flow of resources going. Yeah, and you can see Marco.
Yeah. This may be too much, honestly, for Marco. Because
it's a lot.
Yeah.
Because obviously we already know the Ryza. She's now gonna search for the second copy of Ampen, because it's the only remaining target in the deck.
I mean, it's true that he has 3 skill drain in his deck, but
yeah,
doesn't seem the case.
Even because I'm actually a little bit skeptic about the skill drains, because in this specific spot they would work, but when you have, you know, Jug and Fossil Dyna and statues, and then you activate skill drain, you know, it's kind of a double-edged sword. And now let's see what she's gonna go for. Is it the Ryza? It is. Okay. And this will be a scary, scary play. As you can see, Marco's gonna read to see if he has anything else. We know a punishment face down. And the only unknown card for us is the other remaining face down. And then, yeah, she's thinking what to put back from the grave card. Let's see if there is gonna be a response. It's the Nadir's servant, apparently. Is it gonna be chained? If not, significant troubles. And there is the punishment chained. Now the big question is, do we allow it? Because the good news is he cannot really send an Intis, because he needs to send something with higher attack.
Yeah.
But looking at this actual deck, it's nothing too great. So gonna target the rides, huh? But it's getting negated. So now this is the big moment. The last remaining card for Marco, is it something useful?
No response from Marco. So
And no response. So it needs to send something to the grave. But doesn't, obviously, because the Apex negated it. And now play is resumed. I think the secret village. Yeah, the secret village, I think, must go back, because it was also the other card. She targeted. So it should go back to the end. Well, I think they're gonna most likely realize it. But yeah, regardless, again, only the one face down card is the threatening one. The rest of it looks quite promising for Alessia.
it doesn't seem as if Marco's last set card may be helpful for him, because no response yet. So once again, here with the Tucano, she will be able to get back Empen. This is quite, you know, a very different matchup that we have seen so far.
Okay, and actually she goes for the Apex once again. Interesting. Because I think not accessing the unexplored wind earlier, obviously the secret village stops you from using it, but now he's just gonna go for the protection once again. This doesn't do much at all. And we might have a face down card from Marco, but that would be just negated.
Another one. Okay. And he's
Yeah,
negating
she's
this
just
one
gonna
as well.
negate it.
Yeah.
So Marco in a bit of an awkward spot at the moment. I don't think he really needed to use the card regardless, because he has the protection from the continuous spell. And unfortunately, no. Let's see if Alessia can push. I think she's just gonna discard the couple cards in the end phase and play resumes to Marco.
Well, I mean, the thing is that Marco may have considered not to use the punishment and then use the continuous spell he has. maybe really wanting to spin back the Apex Avian, but yeah, now plays back to him, and let's see if he can find out anything out of this deck. But I think he drew another monster.
And yeah, as expected, now we can see this fossil Dyna, but unfortunately, it's actually gonna be much worse than expected because it triggers the field spell, and yeah, if Marco hasn't realized yet, she's just gonna do everything again, and as we can see here, now we are back into the Floowandereeze loop.
That's how that works, basically. You know, it's like, you know, the Dyna itself doesn't do much against the deck because they're all normal summons, and
okay, enter battle phase, not using the Brimming Town. I mean, she's kind of forced to, and yeah, Brimming Town is finally activated. She can put every monster face down if that converts into a tribute summon. And let's see, she should have a few targets left. Gonna get the toucan back. And yeah, this seems quite problematic from Marco.
because I don't really think how he could ever come back into this one. I mean, still, you know, he's sitting at 8,000 life points, but
Yeah, I mean,
I really feel like in general, you know, it's this is like on Alessia's side.
yeah, it's a bit of a pointless, you know, situation, it seems, where he has a lot of ways to protect himself. But she's still going for the Apex, so I think she's playing a little bit too safe, maybe. And she doesn't go for the Dreaming Town either to put everything face down. Keeping it safe for now, but yeah, you can see Marco just smiling and... yeah, she's back with 7 cards in hand. Might crash just to get the third, but I think he's only playing 2 Ecclesia, so it's kind of out of choices. And the decision to go for the Ecclesia the previous turn, foregoing Search, could actually punish him, because the third copy of Punishment could have been okay. And he's actually gonna crash. Not gonna go for the protection effect. Interesting. Now we're back in Memphis U from what it seems.
And yeah, now Marco activates the Nadir Servant, and I mean, he's trying to stick and survive into this, because I mean, basically he is into a loop in which you can't really get rid of the Apex Avian, which is basically negating everything he activates. And on the other hand, I think also he should be considering that 20 minutes remaining on the round, and if he can't really find his way to deal with the Apex Avian, that maybe too much, maybe going to a game 2. Otherwise, you may risk losing this one and then find himself into time. So now plays back to Alessia, which once again, I think she will just be doing what she did before.
But finally, we get the most important card in the deck, which is the Unexplored Wind. It's incredible in general. Obviously, there is still the one Ecclesia to get rid of, otherwise she will not be able to activate the card. But she should be able to go for it quite easily. And this was the only concern when, you know, activating the Dreaming Town to put everything face down. That would have allowed you to just activate the Unexplored Winds.
Now, once again, let's see if she will decide to go for the Apex Avian, and she playing pretty conservatively. She has tons of cards in her hand, and yeah, she'll go for a Tribute Summon. Let's see. Goes once again for the Apex Avian. And she's slowly reducing Marco's life points, because now he's entering battle phase, yeah, and gets rid of the Ecclesia. But
again, there is the protection effect. So once again, no Dreaming Town activated, and I mean, you can't really blame her. The card is quite niche, so she's definitely not used to playing against it. But I think she's prolonging this game a lot longer than it should be at this point. This game could have been over a couple turns ago already, just for the sheer advantage that she had. Not that Marco really has any ways to get rid of this or come back, but still. And now, Ecclesia summoned can be used to search for the last copy of Punishment. She should also start to count down the number of Floowandereeze cards, because starting to get a little light, and she does not go for the field spell for this reason. And as expected, the third copy of Punishment is there, but most importantly, another spellcaster is there for the village, so this is, yeah, going down as, you know, just trying to resist as much as possible. No, the one was just normal summon, yeah. And as you can see, 2 face down cards, and play is back to Alessia. Let's see what she decides to go for. And she drops a Diddy Crow. No. Never mind. She changes her mind last sec and draws a card for turn, which she cannot activate because of the Secret Village. You can see the tension getting a little bit to her. I mean, it's still tough, obviously, to play on stream. And it's still round 2, so early on.
And yeah, here once again, he'll try to put some pressure on Marco with the Eagle, and I mean, very hard game 1 for both of our players.
Yeah, so much advantage, and it is almost hitting the 30 minutes line for this game 1. Which can be a little bit concerning, but I think still on Marco's side, his deck, as we see, plays cards like Skill Drain, Solemn Judgment, and, you know, those life points are adding up real quick. While on the other end, we know that the Floowandereeze deck, if it wants, can easily go for Advent and just gain 500 life points. So it has a way to easily gain life if time is cold. So okay, she now decides to go get rid of this continuous spell. And this way she wants to just try and get rid, but again goes for the loop. So she brings back the Ryza to her hand.
Because now Marco may use once again his third punishment, and which may be negated from. Yeah, I think it will be negated by the Apex save, and he surely wants to, but Marco is considering it. So, yeah.
And yeah, she's kind of forced at this point to negate. And I think she has gone through both normal summons already.
Yeah.
Which makes it so that Marco can just attack next turn without normal summoning. And yeah, she's just forced to discard a couple of cards in the end phase, really making it hard on herself. And Marco is now gonna top deck and activate once again his continuous spell. So we are back square one, where he can now swing for 4,200 and surprisingly get a lead in terms of life points. And yeah, she's gonna take it all. With what have been the same exact cards, because he has been stuck under the Ryza loop for a bit. And now she might be in trouble. One more draw. It's the street, as we knew. And she's gonna use once again the field spell. Maybe banishing an advent. Very few options left. She has been going through these Floowandereeze turns for a bit. And yeah, as expected. Okay, and this 3.
This is getting a close one, honestly, because if she keeps doing this and then attacking over, I don't really know if, like, at this point in the game, I'm not sure, honestly, who's leading.
But we cannot use the Solemn Judgment because it was used from... Let's see what target she has left in deck.
Now, few life points remaining for Marco, and let's see if Alessia can really find her way. Deal some damage to Marco and close this out. And yeah, Marco has seen enough after. Here they are, and I'm pretty sure Marco will start things off.
The question is, again, is he able to access some of these side deck cards? He really needs them because the rest of his deck stops special summon, and that does not work against Floowandereeze. Ecclesia is a good way to start things off here, getting the punishment.
Good start from Marco. Let's see if he has any copy of his spots in the deck. Either a duality or a prosperity. He has the duality. Good one. Huh. Well, he may get another one if he feels like, but, you know.
Goes for the Nadir instead. But obviously not that happy about it. You already had access to the Dogmatica package. I really wanted to see the Iron Wall or Skill Drain here. Let's see his follow-up. He does have Prosperity, and this is big. How many cards is he gonna banish? Is it still just a 3? Honestly, I would even go for 6. Why not?
I mean, there are 7 minutes, so
Yeah.
it's...
You really want to get to that Iron Ball. I can't quite tell. It's just 3. And it's a Solemn Judgment, but there are 7 minutes remaining. So if you activate that Solemn, yeah, how are you gonna close this one out? He needs to play as fast as possible, but this will be a tough one. And it's a great start with Secret Village and Solemn Judgment, but 6.5 minutes remaining. How do you deal 4,000 damage? It's gonna be tough. And we see the Robina start things off. This could be a Solemn Judgment target.
I think you just do it, and that's the thing. If you don't do it now,
No, and if you do it, you need to do it instantly. Like every second matters at this point. Yeah. And it's taking its time to take this decision, which he cannot really afford to do. Seems like a painful one, but we know that the other side is punishment. So, yeah, taking a bit of time. And I think this is only to the benefit of Alessia. I think it's, yeah, you're forced to do it.
no, you have to do it because otherwise it just, you know, it gets out of control. No.
And he doesn't activate the Solemn Judgment. Wow. Sooner or later, he's gonna be forced to. And she goes for this 3. Interesting enough. Must have a few more Floowandereeze monsters in hand already with the Eglen. And goes for this 3 first. Wow. Just gonna go and target any cards for Marco. Who is considering just going for a punishment. Doesn't go for it. And now we see the Eglen. To which he's still not responding. Wow. It's like a way you can play this is also use the punishment to destroy 2 monsters and just try and slow down.
Yeah.
Because then they don't have enough to tribute summon. But obviously he's not that familiar with the deck. And is he really not gonna Solemn here? Let's see.
I think he's Solemn's now.
I mean, if he does, obviously this whole sequence didn't make sense. So might not just go for it. And you're right, he does off. And this is obviously paying some of the inexperience where this would have been much, much better to just arguably go for it first. But now only 3 minutes remain and he needs to deal a lot of damage. Probably sending the Titanic. No, wow. We might already have some monsters gonna destroy one of the tech cards, one of the one-offs in the deck for Alessia. But I would have liked maybe access. Obviously, we know the Nadir Servant is there, but you need to push as much damage as possible. And you only have 2.5 minutes remaining. He needs to play this fast.
Yeah.
And start things off with this Nadir right away. No response, but this still is not quite enough to fill the gap. Okay, goes for the Antis. Gets what is the second and last copy of Ecclesia and destroys the Prosperity face down. Probably not the best moment to do that. And yeah, as you can see, this is only 3,000 damage. And 2 minutes remain. As you have mentioned, there is also a chance that this ends up in a draw. And if Alessia doesn't pick up a way to play the game next turn, any monster will do. This seems like it will be about it. Can she pick up anything, or is this gonna be a
No.
draw? She scoops. And she opens. I think she does have the advent, I'm pretty sure. And Marco, most importantly, plays no way at all to stop this. Goes for 6, and there is the advent.
Yeah.
And you can see maybe here, but the crowd just bursting into an applause for Alessia. Just a matter of time, it seems. As she goes for Tucan, and this is it. Obviously, Marco, not quite familiar with Advent, probably, because I'm pretty sure she hasn't used it all match.
No,
But,
I don't think she did.
He will soon realize that she has a way to increase her life points and take this one instead of it ending in a draw. And as you can see here, taking her time. Having a bit of a laugh. But great way to start things off here at the Italian National Championship with what seems like will be a 2-0 lead for Alessia. And yeah, now she brings the advent for Marco to read that she has a card against 500 life points. He has a laugh and realized that the game is over. We're probably going to see an handshake come down, and yeah, he's gonna just extend it, and the game will be sealed by Alessia. And yeah, that's about it. Round of applause, and we can go back to us. Congratulations to Alessia.